I had a lot of empathy for the cause. And I had been a music fanatic as a kid and had embraced the protest folk movement of the early mid-1960s, led by Pete Seeger and Bob Dylan. And I was a bit of a folk singer, and I sang their songs. I sang, songs like Blowin' in the Wind, which came out 3 months before the March on Washington. And at our annual Seders, instead of singing Jewish songs, we sang We Shall Overcome and The Times They Are A-Changin', songs like that. I mean, my parents engaged me. They wanted me to kind of make the connections between the historic prosecution of the Jews and historic persecution, I meant to say, of African-American people and other minority people. And so this was kind of woven into my psyche. I experienced prejudice firsthand as a Jewish person, having been called a dirty Jew and had rocks thrown at me by a classmate of mine at the Mifflin School in East Falls. So I had a little empathy. I had more than a little empathy. I had a lot of empathy for the cause. I attended the march with my mom, Joy Takiff. I was 17 at the time and a high school junior, going into my senior year. The reflecting pool mall in front of the Lincoln Memorial was about half full by the time I got there. I think my mom had packed some sandwiches, so we took up our spot and didn't have to go anywhere for the rest of the day. And the speeches, there were a lot of speeches. John Lewis was more fiery than the rest, and he jumped out at me. And then, of course, Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech was just, amazing. 3 years after the march, Dr. King came to our house in lower Germantown, bordering on East Falls. My mom and dad threw an occasional fundraising event in the house for the movement. So 3 years after the march, Dr. King came representing the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, came with Andrew Young, his right-hand man, and large group of Secret Service people who I led around the neighborhood, and they asked questions: who lives there, wanting to know exactly the lay of the land. Dr. King spoke eloquently, spoke out against the war in Vietnam. And this was 3 months before he went public with it. Afterwards, my mom pushed me up to meet him. I had to meet him. She had been good in that regard before. I'd been pushed to meet Eleanor Roosevelt and Bobby Kennedy at events, and this was the best. And I stammered up, great to meet you, and couldn't really, I wanted to say how meaningful my participation in the march and how his speech had just rocked my world, but I didn't. I was flustered, and there was a line to meet him, and I was just happy I got to hold his hand. Felt big and warm and welcoming, and he gave me a good grip, and so I didn't wash it for a day or two.